Good day, YouTube. Back with another video here, and I want to give you another update on the 66 Impala. I've been doing small things little by little, bit by bit, piece by piece. But as you can see here, these are the fender wells. I actually painted this part a couple of months back, but did not like the way that it matched the rest of the parts that I actually did here. So to say with that, when it comes to actually painting parts piece by piece, try to make sure that I have all the mixtures and the levels same as I do every single part. But as you can see here, I already have both parts. I pretty much sanded it all down to the metal with a wire brush, and then I gave it a white coating with the Eastwood epoxy primer here. Now, I love this primer. I actually, before anything that I do, this is my go-to primer that I actually use to paint below the surface of the actual base coats that I do here, because this primer, it shows all your flaws. Before I even move on to the paint, it does a great job in revealing all of the areas which I can improve in before I actually apply my base coat, clear coat. Now, as you can see here with a scuff pad, I just gave it a nice scuff down. And what I did, I painted this part here and I let it sit for 24 to 48 hours. I don't remember. That way I have a good dry surface area, because it's a real thick substance and sometimes it just requires more time to actually go through the flashing process before you can move on to the next step here. But when it comes to adhesion over metal, I'd say this is one of the top quality choices here that you could actually make when it comes to purchasing something that actually really works. And the Eastwood, they do a great job with that epoxy primer. Now, this is the Sublime Green that I have from Eastwood here. So I'm just putting in all my mixtures here, following the stats from which is recommended from the company. Now that the surface of the vehicle, the fender wells here, is already scuffed down and it's dry, it's solvent free, there's nothing that's going to cause any issues with adhesion when it comes to the base coat here. As you can see, this is the Sublime Green. Just doing all of the mixtures with the hardener here. And I'm using the Precision Pro here. This is a new turbine machine other than the Fuji, which I've chose to actually demonstrate here. Now, for the primer, I did use the Fuji. I just love the way it runs, and it's down to the point. It's real simple to use. There's no guesswork. You pretty much plug and play as long as all of your adjustments are to your likings. Now, with the Precision Pro here, because it has a higher turbine capacity, I kind of just wanted to review it to see if it would actually give me better breakdown of the paint or atomization. And it actually does. Both machines do a great job. And with the Precision Pro here, it gives you the ability to actually increase the output of the air that's coming out of the gun here. And now, it's not necessary for all paints. What I come to see when it comes to lacquer paint, which I do use at all times, I don't use these machines for any other purposes but to paint car parts. I'm not doing anything else. And I'd say when it comes to that, the Fuji Minimite 5 does a great job. And the Precision Pro here, it actually does a great job. And it could actually do more than that, because it gives me the option to actually increase my turbines for thicker paint, but for my area of work that I'm doing, I do not actually need it for that. So I keep it at the level of a 5 turbine because when it comes to output and breakdown of the material that I'm using here, they both actually do the same. The Precision Pro gives you more options, but if you're painting car parts, you don't really need it for all of those things. So that's why I say the Fuji actually does what it needs to do, and it does a great job at that. Now, after applying the Sublime Green here, while it's flashing off, I've decided to take the time to actually just record the process on how I break the gun down and clean everything. And I like to do this after the application is done of the paint. I do not like to let it sit in the gun because this just causes buildup, and it's harder to actually clean off the parts after the material of the paint has dried inside of the gun here. So it's better to remove the 3M cap, and then I pour the thinner inside and I believe I used the Naked Gun thinner here, and it actually breaks the paint down before it can dry, and it just makes it much easier to actually clean your parts out here step by step. Now, when it comes to the guns here between both of the manufacturers, the T-model gun and also the HVLP by Apollo, I find both guns to be great guns when it comes to material output for what I'm using. But what I found to actually improve on the quality is this B air cap, which I've been using. I've been using it on the Apollo HVLP gun because it's manufactured through Apollo, but I've actually attempted to do a fitment on the T-model spray gun by Fuji, and this cap also fits on the T-model gun without any issues. I did not attempt to use it to paint any parts, but it seems to have the same fitment as the Fuji air cap here. So one day I may actually give it a try to see if it works. I believe it will because there was actually no loose ends or fitment issues. I did not have to make any sort of a adjustment to the gun to get it to fit there. But I find that when it comes to atomization, this actually improves the output of the gun due to the position of the air holes. Now, this is very important when putting the HVLP gun together. The position of that adjustment knob there, it has a white seal. Now, that seal has to be down with one of the air position holes where the air chamber fits into towards the bottom to the right side. So that's something to remember. It's something that I did not know until I actually ran into an issue putting the gun together, because it allows you to put it on backwards if you're not aware of that issue. And then when you're spraying, it will not actually adjust your fan size pattern because that seal is not positioned correctly. Now, as you can see here, this is the Apollo turbine that I'm using here. And like I said, it's a great machine. It does the same job as the Fuji, but it gives you the option to do a little more if you take your job criteria a little further other than spraying lacquer paint. Now, this is the outcome of the both fenders here with that particular machine. As you can see, I got a nice surface coverage here on both parts. And so what I'll do, I'll let that flash off. And while it's flashing off, I pretty much repeat the process of mixing my next paint for my next surface area, and also taking the chance to clean the gun out. which could range from, I'd say, a 10 to 20-minute process. And by that time, the paint is already flashed off and I could just move on to the next step in the application here. Now, this is the Eastwood clear coat that I'm using here. It's the European clear. I find this to be a user-friendly clear. I never really have issues when applying it to my parts, but you have to be very careful when it comes to clear coat because there's many issues that come into play. You know, it has its window when it dries, and it has its window when you actually could apply another coat or you may get runs. And time, distance in the area that you're covering plays an important part here. You don't want to move too slow or you're going to get a run. You don't want to move too fast or the coverage is just not as wet as you would like it to be. And you don't want to just move too fast because you're not applying the right amount of coverage that you would like towards every part. And also your distance. If you're too close, same concept, you're going to get a run because it's just too much material being applied because it's so close to the part, and you're not allowing the atomization, the divergence of the material to actually diverge to reach the parts here. But now this is the clear coat that I'm using here to actually apply the pearl that I would like over the sublime green. This is not an intra-coat paint that I'm using. It's the same actual clear coat that I will apply after I apply this pearl that I'm putting on a part here for the theme of the vehicle that I'm going for. Now, I like having dedicated guns when it comes to the clear coat that I use and also the base coat. I don't really like to mix because when it comes to cleaning out my clear coat gun, it seems to gunk up more. That's just the material of the clear coat, the hardener, which causes that within the chambers of the gun. And the thing is, it has a bottom screw that allows you to unscrew just to brush out the areas towards the base of where the gun chamber is to clean out the gunk of the clear coat, which actually just builds up. It's just a normal build up, and then over time it's good to unscrew that bottom screw to clean out the gunk which could take place within the gun chambers here. It's a universal gun, so need be, if I wanted this gun to be a bottom feed, I can do that. But since these are HVLP guns, I normally use it as a gravity feed gun, but just having that open access towards the bottom because it does tend to build up at times, and that just allows me more open access to clean certain parts of the gun that I would not be able to clean if that bottom portion was not open. Now, as you can see here, this is the mid coat. After the base coat, it's just a clear coat I'm using to apply the pigmentation to the panel here, which I'm doing to the rest of the parts of the vehicle. And as you can see, we have a nice shiny part here, and it's showing the pigmentation very well. Now, after that, I let it sit for about 2 days, and I've decided to give it a slight wet sand and give it a nice buff here just to give it a good shine, because the wetness does tend to dry after a couple of hours, a day or so, I would say. It still has the clear, but the presentation of the wetness kind of, I don't want to say deteriorates, but it fades. Now, by doing this with the wet sand and buff, it just brings back that nice shine again. And as you can see, just bit by bit, piece by piece, out in the sun here, you can actually see the effects of the pigmentation compared to the sublime green if I did not add that. So we'll get this installed on the vehicle, and I'll let you get a last look here of how the outcome of the paint and just the usage of the machines that I'm using, how it's actually coming out on this project here. Now it's just piece by piece getting everything back together. You can see that everything that I'm touching here is pretty much powder coated or painted, but I've reconditioned all of the parts, what I actually just had access to do something to here. And this is the outcome, YouTube, of the fender wells. And as you can see, it has a nice shine to it. The pigmentation is actually presenting itself very well, to my likings of how I actually wanted it. And this is it, YouTube, just doing a full roundabout view here so you can kind of get a look of how it looked towards the vehicle on the details here. Now be sure to follow me on Instagram. I do post other things from time to time under the same ID that I use on YouTube.